I just ordered these wheels. Well, I didn't just order them. I ordered them last February from DBL Design in Texas. They're 20-inch. And these tires are some Goodyears 335 80/20s. And so I got 5 of those. So it's gonna be a super single setup. The spare, I'm not really sure what I'm doing with that yet. If I'm gonna keep it on the truck or how am I gonna mount that. But anyways, from DBL Design, they do design a front fender kit for the newer Silverado 4500, 5500, 6500 medium duty chassis trucks, which this is a 4500. So anyways, you get we'll kind of mock this up. It comes primed. It's a fiberglass, but it's pretty sturdy. It's not like thin, and should be pretty durable. These are some inner liners there too. Those will get riveted to this. So anyways, we're gonna do a little kind of figure it out how that goes on. But basically, the over fender gets bolted to here somehow. This is where we're gonna have to trim. And that new fender somehow goes in here. And I don't exactly know how, but we're gonna find out. Another thing that is required is these stock bumpers. It's gonna hit a little bit here, which is all good. I mean, I think most people who are gonna go with this setup, they're gonna do an aftermarket bumper or build their own. Some people just delete it altogether, which I'm not totally sure if that's legal in all states or any. But anyways, what I'm gonna do is, for now, I'm just gonna cut this, find a nice spot, do some kind of little bit of an angle, make it look decent. Probably just spray it with primer black. Same with the fenders. I'm thinking I'm just gonna put some bed liner on it for now. Basically, as you can see, we're in the middle of winter and painting is not ideal. So I'm just kind of temporarily painting them, and then once it gets warmer out, now that, because I don't have a shop, we'll actually do some good paint work on this. And so yeah, I'm gonna paint that, probably black eventually still, but I do want to paint this flatbed. It's kind of like a Nardo gray maybe. And then maybe a gray stripe at the bottom of the body there. I don't know. We're gonna mess around and make something look cool. So anyways, I'm gonna get this rear end jacked up. Since the rear end, you shouldn't have to do anything. I was checking clearances just with the measuring tape, and it looks like I'm gonna have, with this flatbed at least, with the new setup on it, I'll still have 5 inches, which is plenty. This chassis is really rigid. It's not flexing much. Yeah, and with these trucks, you get a full straight frame from front to rear. And these obviously come as like a cab chassis deal where there's all different configurations on length and wheelbase. I know you can get shorter than this, but I wanted around 11. So yeah, so this bed is 11.5 feet. And the biggest reason I have this truck is for hauling water. As we're off grid, I can haul a lot at once, and it's also just a side hustle. I can haul for the neighbors, make a few dollars, but really just for our own freedom to do whatever we want. We don't have to rely on others to get water. So anyways, yeah, that tank is right here. And it's a leg tank, 1,600 gallons. That's gonna be bolted. Well, I have had it bolted to the bed. But basically, I need to make a hanger that I can back in, winch it up, and then I can use the truck for water tank, haul in whatever I want. Concrete. Anyways, got a lot of work to do on our property in the next year. and this truck is super useful. Another thing that this truck does that's huge is I have a Boss DXT plow on it. It's the 9-foot 2-inch version, but then I bought extensions. So it's around like 11 feet wide. It pushes really good. However, once you get to this level of snow, it doesn't do much. So it's blowing is kind of the only option after this point. But anyways, I'm gonna get after this and jack up this rear end and put these puppies on. All right, that went pretty good, other than putting it on the wrong way originally. But man, these things are heavy. But actually not as heavy as I thought they would be. Even compared to these are real heavy. I don't know how much heavier these are, but anyways, fitment looks pretty good. So we got room for days. The only thing I would worry about is this. Might just trim this on an angle on both ends. It's still pretty far away, but yeah, we'll probably do that for just to be safe. But yeah, there she is. She's a beefy boy. I love the fitment on the rear though. It's just inside the flatbed. All right, the rear is done. Well, not done, but wheels are on. Looking good. Might trim that just a little bit. I'm not sure if I like it's not quite tucked, but it looks pretty good, I guess. Anyways, now the front end, which is more involved. So we'll get that jacked up, put it on jack stands. I got the rear tires blocked here. Hopefully this thing won't go anywhere. While it's warm-ish, I'm gonna get these things just sprayed. Leaving these, obviously, just the fenders. The fenders need body work, honestly. There's imperfections, but I'm not gonna worry about that right now. I'm gonna wait until it's warmer and actually do it right. But for now, we're just gonna spray them quick and get them installed. All right, as I'm waiting for that paint to dry on the fenders, I'm gonna cut this bumper. So I think I've decided this profile here kind of comes into the bumper here. I'm thinking I'm gonna basically cut it kind of in line right there. I think that'll look pretty good for now. Eventually I want to do a tubular bumper with some probably like 4 cube fog lamps. I want to do like a hitch receiver in the front for a winch. I can put on the front or rear. Anyways, for now, I just gotta get rid of this. I mean, in reality, you'll need to trim probably a few inches. So you could do that, or I think it's gonna look pretty cool just to hack this off. Definitely not gonna help the aero, but who cares? So yeah, I'm gonna get after this and cut that off. Probably clean it and prep it on here, then unbolt it and spray it. All right, so I got that cut. I scratched it up with 220 sandpaper, then used some acetone, just cleaned it up. I was gonna remove it and spray it, but I'm too lazy. I'm just gonna put some cardboard up here because I am replacing this. This is just for the meantime, the next few months till the weather gets warmer. Yeah, it's gonna be black. I do want to get a black grill eventually. I know the work truck version came with black. So maybe I'll trade with someone who wants to swap, but anyways, it looks pretty weird right now. I think when it's black and these fenders and the tires on it will look a lot better. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. All right, I got the front painted. Looks good-ish. Now I was just mocking up the fenders, seeing where I need to cut. Basically what it is where the body line is on this front fender is where I need to cut it. I just took a Sharpie and just so when I'm cutting, I'm not getting lost. It doesn't really have to be perfect because it should never really show, but obviously do what you want. This is the rear side. And I'll just show you, I'll put them up here and kind of see how they go on there. All right. Basically, you're using this shape as your guide along this body here. So you can see how it lines up there. Just try to fit it on there. So it's somewhere, let's see here. So you can kind of feel where it fits right. But really where it lines up is this edge lines up with that. Because this next piece ends about right where that Sharpie is. So basically if you look inside here, the inner side is where it's going to bolt to the existing fender. And so I have a little extra Sharpied out just to be sure I don't cut it too short. But anyways, I'm gonna cut this and see if it works. All right, so I got the hood part cut. It's pretty good. So it's only a single layer fiberglass. This whole front hood is fiberglass. Cuts pretty good. You get to this point, there's some reinforcement, but you hardly get into it. I don't think it's gonna really affect the rigidity of this spot. Anyways, now I gotta cut this piece. So the inner liner bolts to this piece right here is unboltable. You can take it off pretty easily. However, I think it's almost easier to get this cut in place, depending on what you're using to cut. I'm just using that jigsaw, and I think I can cut most of this. Probably come all the way up to here. Once I get up to here, we'll see here. So this is a steel, is this steel? Or a really hard plastic inner fender. There's these 2 torque bolts that go into it. I'm assuming this one I'm gonna lose. So hopefully, I probably don't have to cut it this far back, maybe right here somewhere. But keep this bolt, I think. This one's gonna be not there anymore. And we'll see how it goes. All right. So yeah, just hacking her off. Once you make your mark, just cut through it, not too deep. Obviously, you have to be careful on the passenger side for the DEF fill neck. But basically, once you get your line, yeah, just cut it out. Then there's this inner fender, which I may have cut this too much, but we'll see how it covers. You can do it different. But yeah, you cut quite a bit out. That's what it was. So anyways, I'll see what this, so that, that's the inner side. That actually looks pretty good. So that's gonna be all bolted through there, all the way up there, and that fender piece is gonna continue on. All right, I got the passenger side all bolted on. Basically the hardware kit that it comes with, you have 30, these are 13 millimeter, looks like 1 inch maybe. Each bolt comes with 2 washers and a nylon nut. Not totally sure what these big washers are for. Still trying to figure that out. But anyways, I basically clamped up the fender. Line it up where you want it. All your points like this. And ideally you want it to be this face to be in line with this somewhat. So yeah, I clamped this. I started at the top here because this is the most important spot to get it lined up here. Clamped it here. And I used a drill bit, just not a lot bigger than the bolt, but a little bit bigger, just so you have a little play as you fit it. So I basically clamped up here, got that one tight, relatively tight. Then I went down to the end, drilled that one, and just loosely tightened that one. And then I just split the difference here. So I did this one, then this one, then this one in the middle, and then split the difference. And I honestly think I did one too many bolts on this, because you have 15 per side, and the way it worked out for me was I used 16. But now looking back, this could do with 5, not 6. And it turned out pretty good. So then the hood fender portion, same deal. Basically, you're looking to line up with this front face pretty much flush. And you just, once you have it lined up, it'll kind of work itself together. But basically the biggest thing is lining this up and this up. And I actually cheated it a little bit on this end, just because, you'll see actually here. So I cheated it on this end a little bit because I wanted this slope to match with this. And so there is a decent gap here, which I think is normal. Obviously when you're doing it and you're looking close, it all looks maybe a little worse than it does once it's all put together. But basically, I got it to line up, and there's probably 1.25 inch gap there. But basically it fits really nice along the body of the hood. But yeah, this is where I was trying to line this up, which it worked out pretty good. So anyways, now, and I did the same thing on this. Start on both ends, get in the right spot, then go to the middle and just work your way back and forth. I wouldn't tighten anything until you got everything somewhat, just like lug nuts on a wheel. So now it's the inner shielding. This gets just riveted on here. So looking back, I probably cut a little too much of the inner fender out, but no big deal. I can always put another piece in there or something. But basically it's got some pre-drilled holes here, 3 of them, and you just line it up where you want it, and it gets riveted into this. So yeah, like this came a little beat up, but basically once the weather's nicer, I'm gonna take this all apart and do some real body work and get it nice. But for now, we're just getting it on. All right, so I'll get those inner shielding on and we'll see how it looks. All right, passenger side is done. So this rear part of this inner shielding mud flap deal, there's definitely, however you want to install it, you can kind of mess around with that. I basically, this came right to the body of the truck there. Ideally I wanted this to be higher, but then I had to start trimming this, and it seems like this is where it wants to be. So anyways, the upside, this upper one, super easy. I would definitely keep it like a 1/4 inch in, because it varies. So anyways, obviously looking from the outside you don't see it, but it keeps all the mud and everything from flying in there. So anyways, we're gonna get this wheel on, see how this thing looks. All right, passenger side is complete. Got this last wheel on. Looks good. All right. Just gotta get the driver's side fender done. And the last wheel on and we're done. Sheesh, that looks good. See before over here? What the? That's more like it. All right, now that I'm into the driver's side, I'm realizing it's a little different than the passenger side. And the reason it's different is for the DEF fill neck on the right side, passenger side. So it's not much different, but really the rear portion obviously is what really lines everything up. You kind of see where it fits around the bottom of the cab there. But really what you're looking for is this top line to match up with this profile here. So kind of like that, get it to fit nicely. So you kind of see, so I just Sharpie where I'm gonna cut, and how I did that, same kind of deal as the other side. This side is a little harder to get a Sharpie in and like draw the whole length of the inner side. So what I did was just start Sharpieing it or marking it, and then just stick your finger up behind, then remove it, see where your finger is, mark it, stick your finger back up in there, remove it. So you kind of, anyways, because really this back piece where the bolts are going to go into, that's at least how much you need of panel, if that makes any sense. But anyways, mark it however you want, so that back edge and the Sharpie are pretty similar. So yeah, on the driver's side then, this upper fender, this portion compared to the other side comes further back, because because on the other side, the DEF fill neck's like right here. So they kind of shortened that a little bit. But anyways, everything lines up pretty good. It's not a mirrored marking situation from driver to passenger. It's kind of figure out both ways. But the fenders are well made, and you should be able to fit them and get some marks down and get it cut out. So yeah, like on the front though, it's the same thing. That fender is going to line up with this front edge, and however it kind of fits best on this face, because this is all getting cut out. All right, I'll get this put on. All right, I got the rear part of the fender all in. Turned out pretty good. Just opened the door to test it out. Nothing hits. On the driver's side here versus the passenger side, this spacing right here is a little tighter. So you have to run your bolts. Sometimes, like the other fender, I was putting all the bolts in this way. But like these, I had to go this way. I don't know. Maybe this is the better way to do it anyways. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Nobody's looking. But pretty straightforward. I mean, once you get this cut, as you can see, this is bolted to there. This is really what you want. This part lined up all the way across here and down this side and under. So yeah, I'm gonna get the hood portion of the fender bolted on here, and we'll see how it goes. All right, I got that over fender bolted on. Went pretty good. Same with the other side. I found that you want to leave at least 1/4 inch, at least on my truck and the way mine fitted. On the other side, on the end of this hood, you want this part to be a little higher, like that. It seems like it lines up better with this fender than on both sides. It was like that. Now I'm gonna get the inner liner put on, mud flap, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, that's gonna go something like, actually in there, something like that. This is definitely however you would like to do it. I don't think there's a right or wrong way to do it. I wouldn't put it super low because then it keeps that all exposed. You want to cover that at least. But anyways, the top one is really straightforward. It's literally just a strip that goes all the way along this. All right, that's it. Turned out good. I would say this side had a better fitment. I mean, I'm sure the other side is just harder to, it's going around the DEF and all that, so there's just more leeway in where things go. But anyways, I'm gonna get this last wheel on and we'll take it for a drive. All right, here it is, the finished product of the fenders and wheels setup, the super singles from DBL Design on my 21 Silverado. Overall, super happy with how it turned out. Lots to come for this truck. Currently have a water tank for it. That's the main reason I have this truck, for hauling water as we're living off grid. I'm gonna have a 12-foot enclosed, I mean, I don't know what you'd call it, an enclosed body basically that's gonna sit on top of the bed here, so I can fit tools and whatnot in that. Something I'm gonna winch on and off. Same with the water tank. And then eventually I really want to build a over the cab camper deal with this. So it's gonna be a pretty sweet overland heavy duty truck. But anyways, overall super pumped about these wheels and tires. I will say it changes the whole feeling of the truck. The original wheels are around like 32 inches. Obviously it's all rated for what the truck is built for. But the ride is horrendous with the original setup, where this truck, now that's got bigger wheels on it, the chassis is really stiff, so now it's gonna roll over and it already feels a lot better. Someday I want to do an air suspension, but that's big money. But for now, this is good. Got some good tires. Living this far back off main highways, it's a truck that's gonna get us in and out and do a lot of serious work for us.